were 2 for 28 from the field. We were chucking, weren't we?
So better than you.
Yes.
You guys were chucking it today. Was this you think your most complete performance of the year?
You know, obviously, we played good at every phase of this game, right? Offense, defense, special teams. Offensively, we had things that we got to clean up, some pre-snap penalties, and so we'll get better from that. There's some ways we can do that and clean that up. So I got to do a better job coaching it, and we'll clean that up. But yeah, it was a pretty complete game for us, and I think that's a really good football team. I got a lot of respect for the players over there. I got a lot of respect for the coaches over there, and I just think that's a good football team.
You guys, you scored 35 points with 11 either pre-snap or holding penalties for 75.
It makes you pissed that you have 11. I think it just makes you mad that you had that many pre-snap penalties, because that's always a reflection of me, and I like I said, I got to do a better job coaching that. And but as far as just the performance by Jalen and by the offensive line and protection, and then by Jack Stoll getting going, and then having 2 guys with 100 yards, that was pretty big. It was pretty sweet for AJ to have that game. I know that was important to him, but what was cool was I didn't feel him press all week. I just felt him going through his normal process, and that's what it takes, right? Because you can't get up for one game and not get up for another game. You got to treat them all the same. And I saw AJ do that and handle that like a pro this week.
The defense helped Derrick Henry to under 30 yards. What did you see from the defensive front against the run particularly?
Yeah, that guy is a phenomenal player. Derrick Henry is a phenomenal player, and so we knew we had to get, we couldn't let him get to that second level free. So the defensive line, we're going to have to work, and we got a good array of defensive linemen. Just keep throwing guys in there, and they're fresh, and so they all did a nice job. Obviously, I'll have to watch the tape, but I thought we tackled well. I thought we came after the football well. As far as our strip attempts, I thought we played well up front. I thought when I saw that our secondary players closing the gaps once they got cracked on, so I saw Slay get in there on tackles, and James get in there on tackles, and Marcus and Reed, and so it was a good overall defensive game, and it has to be against a well-coached team, and a great run team like the Tennessee Titans. I've seen him up close and personal plenty of times, and I've seen him run for a lot of yards. But so it was good to be able to contain him today.
Nick, one of the things that seemed to stick out about Jalen today was that even the throws he made downfield didn't seem particularly risky. It wasn't as if there was much of a chance there'd be an interception or anything like that. What do you attribute that to? Is that him, his judgment? Is that the play calling? What's kind of allowing you guys to kind of marry the
I think that's what's been happening all year, right? He has 3 interceptions on the year, so he's been pretty careful with the ball all year while still being aggressive. That's the art to it, right? Be aggressive and be able to create explosive plays while taking care of the football. That's why only so many people in this world can play the position that he plays, because you want to be aggressive. Explosive plays are key to your success on offense, but you also know that turnovers can doom you as well. And so there's an art to that, and he's done a good job of that all year. Today, particularly, a lot of throws were outside. When a lot of the throws are outside, there's usually only one guy that can get it. It's either our guy or their corner. And today, AJ and Devontae went up and get it. The guy on our sideline on the deep ball, that Devontae made a really nice play. But other than that, I think our guys went up there and got after the ball, and that's what we know they can do that. We know AJ has a special ability to catch the ball no matter the circumstances. And he made some catches today that I'm not sure I've seen that many good catches by one guy in a game. And so, it was Jalen gave him a chance, and then they went up and got it.
The Titans are viewed as
Devontae going. How important is that for you guys? Obviously with AJ on the other side, also for him.
I think Devontae's been going the whole year. I know that there's been things that have been brought to my attention, like, well, because the questions you guys asked about, well, does Devontae need to get going? Is this and that? Devontae's been going, right? He's been a steady. Besides that first game where he got shut out, you got Devontae. Devontae today.
And then Jay went under.
And Jalen's on under. That's what I'm talking about. Where's the AJ one?
AJ went at home. Mama said that
You want to talk into
that would
that?
be too big.
What, the AJ one's too big?
No, she said if I put it over, it would cover the shorts up. I don't know why.
So you just wore Jalen and Devontae today?
Yeah.
All right, baby. I think Devontae's been going the whole year. He's been a steady. He's just very steady. This guy is a phenomenal route runner, and that first third down, the thing he did on that route shows you just what. go back and look at that. I mean, I'll see someone will send me that this week of the zeroed in on that and someone writing an article about that because it was beautiful. He came across and then came back out, and it was just he's clean out of the break. He's really you saw the one where he the yards after catch is just he does everything well. And so Devontae's been going the whole year, and he's had some really big games, and so it's good when anytime you get two guys that have 100 yards, that's pretty sweet, and that makes you feel good as a coach. It makes them feel good as players that the whole room's contributing. Quez had some nice plays. Zach had a couple nice plays, and Jack Stoll made some really nice plays. I thought everybody that played their role very well today.
It seemed like you guys downplayed AJ facing his former team, but what I saw in the field, he actually had a little more juice. Did you notice that he had a little more against his former team?
Human nature is going to take over there, and he's gonna. You try not to get any more up or down for any game now. He's had big games like that before. He did. It looked like that Pittsburgh game very similar. It looked like that Detroit game very similar. And I thought he handled his business like a pro. But of course, of course that he got himself up a little bit more for that. Like as much as we're telling him don't, and just let it happen naturally, human nature is going to take over there. But he did. I felt like he went through his process throughout the week to get himself ready to play. And that's what's important. You got to go through that part, and then you go through that part, and then you get some more emotions in a game. That happens. I mean, look at me on the sideline sometimes. I'm pretty emotional on there too. But again, he played a great game. It was good to see him go out and play the game against his old former team.
So did that the way where he didn't show his hands until like the last possible moment. We can all see like how big and physical and fast he is and whatever.
Have we started working that yet?
What?
When you go, you run, and put your hands out late.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can do that.
We've done that before.
All right, let's go ahead.
We can see how fast and physical and big and all the obvious stuff with him, but that's kind of one of the subtleties of his game. Like, what are some of the other subtleties that he has in his game?
That is a hard thing. That's always something that I want to be able to coach, and you can't. Like, it's just it's really hard. It's hard to run, boom, and rip it out of there. I think some subtleties of his game are just how quick and explosive he is out of breaks. For the size for how big he is, and then just how powerful he is with the ball. You can see him constantly. He's kind of like a Derrick Henry type when he catches it, right? Because he gets those extra yards right when guys have him wrapped up, and he's just going to get some extra yards out of that. And so I think that's a real subtle thing. Like, he might not have the craziest yards after catch numbers. He's got good yards after catch numbers, but he gets these extra yards on some of these throws that guys don't get extra yards on. So I think that's really subtle. I think, last game I said I thought he blocked his butt off last game. He really did. He really worked hard to spring some long runs last game in that big, when we ran for all those yards. And I just think what people don't know about him, he's just a great person, phenomenal person that really cares about his teammates, really cares about this football team, and he's just going to keep getting better. And I'm so happy he's on this football team.
As you said, to go from the way you guys ran last week to the way you passed today, what does that say about where you are as an offense and what you can do going forward?
Yeah, I think it just says that we'll do whatever we need to do to win the game. And if the pass game gets hot, then the pass game gets hot. We keep going with that. If the run game gets hot, that we'll ride that. And Shane did a great job calling it. Offense coaches did a good job putting the guys in position. And then obviously the most important thing, the guys went out and executed it. And I don't feel like all I felt like was whatever we called was working because of the guys we have out there on the field. And it starts up front. The protection was awesome today against a couple really good rushers in Simmons and Dupree. So the protection was good all day, and Jalen just found the ball, right place to go with the ball, and we have some good weapons over there to help us make plays.
Nick, with 4 weeks left in the season, and Jalen may not himself want to talk about this, but do you see
I don't want to talk about it either. What are you going to ask me about?
Do you see him as a legitimate MVP candidate among other guys in the league?
Whatever, that's something we have no control over, and shoot, you always want something to be like you want your players to be acknowledged for the successes that they're having. So, yeah, we want that for guys, but all we can control is how we go out and work this next game, and then the next game after that. So all our focus will now shift. We'll enjoy this one, but all our focus then will shift to the Giants, and we'll go. He'll go and prepare like he did this week, to get ready to play a really good team in the Giants. So.
Like where he is right now.
I love where he is. I love where he is, but that's the MVP stuff for you guys to decide, right, of where that is. He's just got to do what he's got to do to play good, to give us a chance to win each week, and all that matters is next week. And he's probably going to say the same thing to you.
Nick, what do you think of the special teams today?
Awesome. Thanks for asking that. Thanks for not cutting me off. Yeah, go for it. Awesome, and what a bounce back game, right? And so we had those 3 kickoff returns that really sat with us all week, and then it was just a great bounce back game. It was, man, Kobe came down and lit somebody up. Brenton Covey, we got a lot of good production out of our rookies and our second-year players out of that. Christian Ellis, Brenton Covey, Nakobe, Sean Bradley, Kayvon, like Andre, all those guys came out there and rave. I'm missing a bunch of guys, Kyron, but they went out there and they were hungry to bounce back. And I think, right, we're going to have some ups and downs in the season. And when you have a down, can you pick yourself back up off the ground and rip it? And a tribute to Coach Clay, Coach Panunzio, and Coach Brown, they got those guys ready to play. And then the guys went out there and really played their butts off for Coach Clay. And that was really important. What they did on what our special teams did today. Gave us a spark to be able. I mean, we're starting when you start at the 40-yard line consistently. I mean, obviously that's huge. And so it was just the spark that we really needed, and it felt. That's why it felt like just a complete game by our entire team today.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
All right, you heard from Coach fielding a lot of questions about Jalen Hurts and where he is in his development. He said, I'll leave the MVP conversations to all of you. I know he's just going to prepare, go back to his process, and get ready for New York, which when you do look ahead, I mean, still 3 NFC East games to go. The Eagles obviously are in full control, but still a ways to go.
Oh, yeah, a lot of football left to be played, and that's why this game was important, because other teams around the league that are chasing you for that number 1 seed is still in play as well. So it was a great job getting this W today. Now you got 3 road games coming up. That's another reason why this game was so important to get, because going on the road for 3 straight road games could be difficult for us to navigate through. But that you got this one in the bag. You're sitting at 11-1 now. You pretty much control your own destiny. As long as they take care of business, we'll be where we need to be at the end of the year, which should be the number 1 seed.
Yeah, and a big stretch here coming up, not just on the road, but as you can see, we've got a couple of NFC East games in the next 3 weeks. You got 3 and 5. So I think ultimately at the end of the day, yeah, this is what it's about, is going on the road down the stretch here in December and go take care of business and try and get this number 1 seed. Because that's the thing. Cowboys right on your heels this way. It's not the difference between the 1 seed and the 2 seed.
No.
If the Cowboys catch you, it's the 1 seed and the 5 seed. So the Eagles need to keep this up, keep playing the way that they played today, and you won't have to worry about it.
And those are good football teams coming up. I know the Giants and the Commanders ended in a tie today, but the Giants are a good football team. You got to play them twice. You got to go down to Dallas on Christmas Eve to play the Cowboys. And the Bears, Justin Fields, they're putting up a pretty good fight up in the north.
Yeah, you got the Giants still fighting to try to get in the playoffs. So most of those teams have something that they're playing for. And you bring up the Bears, that's a young team that's probably tired of losing football games. Their young quarterback is starting to play well. So at the end of the year is where you're trying to finish off and have good momentum going into the offseason, and always going to Soldier Field in Chicago, especially late in December. Wind swirling, cold out there. That's always a difficult place to play. And the Eagles clearly have a target on their back. They are the best team in football. Everybody has seen it. So when they come to town, everybody wants to measure themselves against the Philadelphia Eagles. You have to be prepared to play your best game, because that team usually is going to put their best foot forward.
And again, because everybody else that the Eagles are playing will have something to play for, that urgency on the other sideline is only going to be greater and greater.